Welcome back to Conversing Over Drinks. I'm your host, Cedric Turner, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Tess Cheng. Is that right, Cheng?
Cheng, yes.
Cheng, okay. And we're having a great episode today about mental health, and we have a wellness coach on here that's going to help us through that. I know a lot of my listeners that do listen understand that I have had my own struggles with mental health, and I basically made this podcast to help men deal with their mental health because that is a subject that men don't talk about a lot. So before we jump into the episode, Miss Tess, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience and let them know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Tess Cheng. I'm a health and wellness coach. I help people improve their health by building sustainable lifestyle habits. So we're talking about holistic approach such as sleep, stress management, nutrition, exercise, and even social connection. All those things are really important, and they all integrate. They work together as a whole. So if one of those areas is out of whack, then you will feel unbalanced, basically. And I work with clients mainly on Zoom, remotely, because I find that people like that because it gives them flexibility.
Oh yeah, that's a
Mm.
great thing to really focus on too, because it is both a physical and mental thing when you're talking about
Yeah.
wellness. I mean,
Mm.
I was athlete for 28, 29 years. So, I mean, just putting my body through all types of different things. And then once I started coaching and teaching, it was like I remember talking to my mentor and he was like, "Do you ever sleep?" And I was like, "If I get 4 hours, it's a
Mm.
good night." It's a good night to get 4 hours. But I
Yeah.
can feel that was one thing that I always understood, and me and him would talk about a lot because I would feel how my body was feeling. If I would
Mhm.
tell people all the time, like, "Hey, my body's about to shut down. I need to finish this so I can just go crash for 2 days and let my body catch up a little bit because it's starting to struggle. I can feel it."
Oh, yeah, yeah. And sleep affects our brain health,
Oh yeah.
so it affects our mood and emotional regularity, how we are with people. So all those things are important to our well-being.
Of course. So, what inspired you to be a wellness coach?
Well, I was always interested in health, was always passionate about, looking for ways to actually get healthier. And it was my own personal quest, to do a lot of research. And then I noticed that a lot of people actually need help as well because there's so much information out there and they just get very confused. And there's so much we take on all the time. We feel overwhelmed. And health very often is something that people neglect, because they focus on their families, their relationships, their work, their professional life, and they don't get the symptoms for a long time, from diseases. And so they think, oh, it's put in the back burner. And I think it's just so important to actually keep reminding people that it's something that we have to think about all the time and to be mindful. And so it really got me on this journey to help other people to actually have that awareness.
Yeah, that's great. So, what would you say to like people? Because as a former athlete and a coach, I would tell most of my players to listen to their body because everybody is different. They would talk about what they're seeing on TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff, and I'm like, just because it worked for him doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like your body is different. So, what would you tell a client or somebody who's like, well, I've been doing this forever because this is what I've seen and nothing is changing? How would you explain that they need to listen to their body instead of what they're seeing?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes. First of all, yeah, as you say, you have to listen to your own body, what works for you. And we're all individuals, so we're different. And not just that, also talk about, mentally that we have different preferences and our backgrounds also make a difference to us, our lifestyle, what we enjoy doing. We have to take those preferences into consideration. Whereas some people, they don't mind being really regimented, but then on the other hand, you might not want to follow this list of things from morning to the evening. It might not work.
Yeah.
And the person who's also suggesting to you, perhaps that person might be living on his own and you don't. You have a family and you have children, so that you have to take all those things into account.
Yeah. So, how has your understanding of mental health evolved while doing wellness?
It's really involved with at the beginning, I thought, oh, mental health is really about just dealing with stress
Mhm.
or just being happy. But
Yeah.
it's actually more than that. It's about having resilience, emotional regulation, and also understanding that mental health is really important. It's something you should be looking at every day rather than just, have it in the back burner and just focus on, say, for example, physical health.
Mhm.
And with that, really, I want people to understand that, they need to have that in balance, have that harmony. And that's what really inspires me to work with people to, make them know that mental health is just as important as physical health.
Yeah. So, why do you think people tend to prioritize their physical health over their mental health?
Physical health is easy. It's obvious,
Yeah.
blood pressure, weight, it's a lot of it, you can see it. And if you're sick, you have a cough or flu, you feel it right away.
Yeah.
But with mental health, very often is you really know it yourself, but no one else sees it, and you are the only one who knows what's going on. And also, I think, I believe it's also something to do with the society, how would they view mental health?
Hmm.
Because they feel that you should just have to push it through, and we should thrive on productivity,
Yeah.
and at whatever cost, and not about resting and taking time off.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand that. It's a weird thing to balance because it is, like you said, physical health is something that you can see. Like you can see the
Yeah.
changes, you can see the developments, you see it every day. But mental health is something that a lot of people don't focus on because it's not something that one, people want to talk about a lot,
Mm.
and two, something that it shows progress every day. Like one day you can be extremely high, next day be extremely low, where it's a different battle. So for a person who is struggling more with their mental health than they are their physical health, what is something you will tell them to kind of steer them more to doing things that help their physical health or to help their mental health
Mm.
that also help their physical?
Yeah, they both work together. So mental health and physical health are like teammates. They actually, both things work together, keep you in balance. And with mental health, really, it's important to check in with yourself to say, how
Yeah.
am I feeling today? Rather than thinking, oh, not think about it. And maybe perhaps speak to a friend. It's good to talk about it rather than keep it all inside you. When you have a conversation, it makes you, be more aware of what's really going on.
Mhm.
And perhaps do little things like meditation, for 10 minutes, some breathing exercises. And again, we talk about sleep, make sure that's not neglected. Because when you are tired, when you haven't had enough rest, the moment you wake up, you just feel, you don't feel good, you don't have the energy. So the whole
Yeah.
day becomes hard. And everything you do and people, you feel, you become more snappy, you
Mhm.
might become moody, and everything just spirals out of control.
So, what is enough rest though? Because I know a lot of people who they think enough rest is 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And then I know a lot of people who can function on 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And then
Mm.
I know people who will sleep 4 hours, wake up, work, take a power nap, work again, and then sleep another 4 hours. So, what
Yeah.
is like the correct area of sleep you should be looking at?
I'm laughing because sleep is a huge topic. We can actually have a whole podcast, a whole episode just devoted on sleep. Well, in fact, I would just say, yes, some people can function on 4 or 5 hours, and just because you can function on those hours, this doesn't mean that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because you mentally you feel, oh, I don't need more than that, and I can just push through. I can have more coffee, caffeine.
Mhm.
That's what keeps you, gives you energy all day. But research does show that for brain health, it's best to have between 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, because it's not just the quantity but the quality, and you also go through different stages of sleep. You
Mhm.
might have heard of REM sleep and
Yeah.
deep sleep. So it's a bit like the brain is a bit like a washing machine. It needs all those hours to go through the cycles. And so if you cut short of the time when you have rest, then you're not allowing your brain to do all the work that it needs to do when we're resting.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, what are some warning signs that someone might be neglecting their mental health? Like, if you see it in a friend, like, what are some warning signs where you can be like, hey, like, you need to talk?
Yes. Fatigue, constant fatigue, just not feeling good. And just going through the motions, perhaps,
Yeah.
and losing interest in things that they would normally enjoy.
Hmm.
The other thing is just getting, feeling irritable, just get
Yeah.
irritable very easily. Just getting moody and perhaps not performing well at work, not meeting deadlines. And the other thing is also you start neglecting your physical, your lifestyle habits in other areas. You might not have as much desire to eat healthily
Hmm.
or to get enough sleep, and to go to the gym, because now you're not feeling good mentally, because your mind is what helps you to do all these things.
Okay. So, what are so that we now that we've seen the warning signs, what are some stuff that we can do to either help ourselves or help our friend or whoever we're around kind of get back to being like mentally healthy?
Yeah. Quite a few things, but I would say try some small steps. Again,
Mhm.
see what works for you. Don't overwhelm yourself, because when you're dealing with mental health, you don't want to feel that, oh, wow, I've got a whole list of things I have to follow.
Yeah.
uh, um, Breathing exercises can work very well, and I like them. And you can start with 10 to 15 minutes. And maybe some meditation practice. Again, start for short period of time. Don't say I can do it for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. When
Yeah.
you have never done that, perhaps even 10 minutes would be good. Maybe perhaps start in the morning. So you can, if you have a balcony, it's quite nice. Or go out for a walk, a quick walk, a
Mhm.
mindful walk, maybe in the morning or after dinner, which also helps with your physical health as well.
Yeah.
And importantly, get some support or talk to a friend. As I
Yeah.
said, rather than keeping it inside you, it's good to talk. And then, you never know, it's when you actually put out in the open, when you realize that other people also having the same struggles, you would feel better about it. It's not just you. Because
Mhm.
very often people think of mental health as something really serious, people
Yeah.
on medications going to see psychiatrists. But no, mental health applies to every one of us. And maybe journaling, write down about your
Mhm.
feelings, your emotions, what kind of struggles you are going through, and think about, also write down some of the wins you've had that day. Maybe
Yeah.
perhaps something that's actually something you've done and something's come through, that makes you feel proud of yourself. All those things are useful.
Yeah, that's those are good notes. I catch myself doing that a lot lately since I've gotten back from Japan. Like there'll be some times where I'll be at work and I'll just feel everything just kind of piling up, and I'll just simply tell my boss, I'm like, hey, I just need to disappear for like 5 minutes. Like, just let me go breathe, let me go meditate, let me go reset, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. And I have a really nice boss who's like, hey, go do it. And I'll go do it. I'll reset. I'll do my meditation. I'll let my body calm back down. And then I'll breeze right through the rest of the night. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the meditation. Um, but it also is listening to you talk is kind of like all the checklists for what I'm going through right now. So I'm just like, do I need to start switching some stuff up? Am I depressed? Am I is something changing? Do I need to talk to somebody? I was like, it's eye opening. So I'm just listening and tuning. Like I'm trying to get all this. I might go to sleep right after this so I can catch up on sleep because I always sleep like 4 hours a night. Like if I
Oh,
sleep.
boy. Yeah.
And sometimes when I get deep sleep, I know I get deep sleep because I wake up stuck to the pillow because I was drooling. And so I know I was in a deep sleep. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, man, that felt good. But then I'll be like, I can't do that again because I've missed so much. Like there's like I have so much I need to do now. Like
I understand. But as I said, like small steps. So not go from 4 hours to 8 hours of sleep. That's big jump. Say just give yourself another hour. So over a period of time, another hour. So eventually you get between 7-8 hours a night and see how that works.
We'll see. I was like,
but
we also bring this back to the wellness because it's also a struggle for some people to sleep. Like it's always been a struggle for me to sleep. Even when I was little, my mom said that she would have to play well sounds for me to go to sleep because if she didn't, if she just told me to go to sleep in silence, like she would come back in my room at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'd be writing something down or like playing a puzzle or doing something. And I just be like, I can't sleep. Like my mind is just racing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my issue as an adult as well. Like I can't sleep in silence. Like the moment I try to sleep in silence, just things start running through my head just constantly. And I'm like, okay, I need to get up and write this down, or okay, I need to get up and plug this in, or I need to do something that makes me like extremely bored to where my body's just like, okay, let's just sit down. So I've been taking melatonin like Skittles lately. Like I just eat them all the time to go to sleep, but then that'll mess me up too because I'll wake up after 6 or 7 hours and I'll still be extremely tired because that melatonin hasn't worn out, and I'm like, so I'm just still tired, but I have to function. Like I have to get through the day. So, what are some like things that you would tell somebody who is kind of like in my situation who just can't sleep?
Yes. First of all, I would say if you're a coffee drinker, I would suggest not having any caffeine after 2 p.m.
Oh. I gotta work. I don't know how I survive my shift at work if there's no coffee. So what am I supposed to drink to stay awake at work?
Well, perhaps if you sleep better at night, then you will have the energy in the afternoon.
It's more evening. Like I go to work at 4 in the evening. I get off around 11 in the evening. So it's a long night. I was like, when I was younger, that was fine. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I want to be in bed by 9. Like,
How about getting some sunlight exposure in the afternoon? Go out for a walk.
Yeah, I mean, it's Arizona. We're always in the sun.
So go out for a walk, maybe do some jumping jacks, get your body moving in the late afternoon. Because caffeine does interrupt one's sleep. And even when people say, oh, I can drink coffee at 8 o'clock at night and I will still be fine. But the quality of sleep is affected. When they track their sleep, it does affect REM sleep. And so we always suggest no caffeine after 2 p.m. And try other natural ways of giving yourself more energy, like sunlight exposure, some exercise and movement. And in the evening, which is very important, is to have a wind down routine, I would suggest. So
Yeah.
you can't, the body doesn't work that way, that, you can't just be busy, busy, busy answering emails, television, all the devices. And then you say, I'm going to bed now. I'm just going to pass out.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because your brain has been stimulated. So you have to wind it down and to have to give it some signals that it's time to go to bed.
Okay.
So I would suggest, if you enjoy reading, read a book, but not Kindle, a physical book because of the blue light exposure.
Mhm.
And how about audiobook? Listen to that and have do some breathing exercises. It's basically just calm your mind down rather than
Yeah.
the other way of getting it all excited again.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That's
The other thing I would suggest is having dinner earlier. What time do you have dinner?
mm, that depends. That depends on if I even eat dinner that night. Because like I said, I do work late, so I don't really have, and I work at a restaurant, so I don't really have time to eat. Like I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, so I'm around food the entire time, but I just don't really have time to eat. Like I can't say, hey, let me take a 30-minute break to go eat because people are putting in orders, and so so I can't really like take time to eat. So I usually either eat before work or after work, and it's usually always something kind of small and just quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I've really seen that change since I've gotten back from Japan. That I just don't eat as much as I used to. Like um I don't eat as much like large quantities that I used to.
Yeah.
Like I used to eat a lot before I went to Japan. Like it was
Uh-huh.
just a ton of food. Like in the morning, afternoon, and evening, I would just eat. But
Mm,
my time in Japan was very different. Like they have a very different way of doing meals and
yeah.
portion
Yeah.
size and stuff like that.
Tiny.
Yeah. And so since I've gotten back, I've noticed that I just don't eat as much as I used to anymore. I kind of eat the same way I did in Japan, minus all the healthy food. I was like, so it's just it's finding my way back to eating a certain way because
Mm.
it, I was telling my buddies the other day, I was like, it really surprised me the other day because I had what I would consider when I was younger a smaller plate. Like I had
Yeah.
regular, I had like two pieces of catfish, some red beans and rice, and then some candy yams. And I was like, okay, this is a small plate compared to what I used to eat when I was younger. But I
Mm-hmm.
got through like one piece of the catfish, like some of the rice, and maybe two bites of the yams, and I was like, man, I'm full. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like I've never been full this quick. Like this is,
Yeah.
it's like, so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, either my stomach is getting smaller, or I'm just kind of,
Mm.
my body has adjusted to how I was eating in Japan, and they're like, hey, we like that better, so we're
Yeah.
trying to we're trying to kind of cut you off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. As you said, your body might prefer it that way. So,
yeah,
it works for you.
yeah, and I mean it, and it's been a telling thing because I mean I went to Japan, uh, 250, 255,
Mm-hmm.
and I stand at 6 foot, so it's like 250, 255, 6 foot. But when I got back from Japan, I was like 220,
Oh, wow.
and
Huge
yeah,
difference.
and it was very different. Like I was like 220, 215. Like right now, I'm still sitting around that area.
Yeah.
But it was very different because it was just like my buddies asked me what changed in Japan. I was like, no, I was like, to me, nothing really changed. But I was like, the portion sizes were different. I was like,
Yeah.
we do walk everywhere. I was like, you
All
don't
right.
really
Yeah.
take the train. I was like, I'd get in 20,000 steps by noon. Like I'd already have 20,000 steps. It's like, so I was like, it was just a healthier environment for me. I was like, the United States is not as healthy as I would prefer it to be. It's like
Yeah. The portion sizes here are huge by comparison.
they are enormous, and I just don't understand it. Like I'm like, why? Like I
Yeah.
remember the first thing that got me when I started this job as a cook. I was like, man, like, because I would make something that I would think would be a good portion size, and my GM would be like, no, we make it bigger. Like, you need to add more to it. And I'm like, who eats all of this? Like, I was like, I couldn't eat all of this. It was like, I was like, it would take me 2 or 3 sittings to eat all this. And then it was just, I don't know, like that's been a big change for me. I haven't got back to it. And I think my body is really starting to realize that, because it's starting to, like, I'm starting to get stuff that I was getting before Japan that I didn't get in Japan. Like, I was getting, like, in Japan, I wasn't really getting heartburn, or I wasn't really getting like indigestion problems, and I wasn't really like having like stomach issues in Japan. But since I got back to the States, I'm having heartburn and stomach issues and all that stuff. And I'm just like my body's like, hey, we want to eat a certain way, and I'm like, hey, we can't afford that way over here. Like, that way is expensive over here compared to what I was over there. It's like,
but those are signals that your body is telling you, you know, what is happy with. Just like mental health, you know, if you start feeling too tired and stressed out and snappy, you know, those are signals. So listen to them, and you know, it's your body trying to tell you what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. So when we talk about mental health, what role do men or women play in shifting the narrative of how we seek help? Because for a long time, I always knew that it was okay for women to talk about stuff. It was okay for women to seek help, to talk about their mental issues. That was okay. That was fine. That was encouraged. But for men, especially a black man, it was not encouraged. It was, I don't know how many times I heard growing up, hey, you need to just swallow that shit, or hey, don't talk about that, or hey, you need to just let that go. And I'm like, why? Why can't I talk about this? Like, why can't I express this? And they're like, that's not what men do. We don't do that. And so how can we change that narrative to where men are more okay with speaking about their mental health? Because as much as I love women, I was raised by women. I've always had the utmost respect for women. They make it really hard for men too, because they'll ask for a man to be sensitive and like open up and talk. But then when that man does, like, now he's soft and he's weak and he's this and he's that. And it's like, no, I'm not. This is what you asked me to do. But now that I'm doing it, you see me in a totally different light, because that's not really what you wanted from me. Like, it's like, so it's always such a confusing thing. And I've always told a couple of my friends, my female friends, who are like, well, men just don't open up. And I'm like, no. That man did open up to somebody, and she treated him like shit. And so he ain't never going to do it again.
Also, that's the pressure from society that men should stay stoic. And so they're less likely to talk about, things that are on their minds that bother them. They're less likely to seek help. And as you said, then they're less likely to open up, because they're supposed to be strong and they can deal with everything. But we're all humans, so we all go through those issues. And at the same time, women are supposed to be able to do it all. And so they can, they tend to take care of other people, and they neglect themselves, their own needs. And I think there needs to be a balance between them. And for men, I think it's important for them to, they open up. And these days we understand, we all have issues. We all have mental stuff that we go through. And then I think, by having conversations like we do, it really makes people realize that it's not just, it's not just women who have mental health problems. Men do as well. And we all want to talk about it because we do feel better once we open up.
Yeah, that's a great answer there. And so before we close out the episode, I've been doing some different things before I get to my final questions. I've been doing like a rapid run of just quick questions that we just want some quick answers on, and just so that the audience and my listeners can kind of get to know you a little bit better as a person. So, first things first, and it also kind of helps them kind of figure out your age. Because of the stuff you answer, they're just like, yeah, well, yeah. And so first question is, what was your favorite song growing up? Favorite song or genre or musician? Just that area. What was it growing up?
Prince was the first singer that I went to the first concert. So I think it gives you an idea.
Wow.
He was the artist that I really admired. I was so upset when he passed away.
Yeah.
And I went to about 3 of his concerts. First started in England because I grew up in England.
Yeah.
And I just love his style, and he was so talented. He could play all these instruments, his voice, everything, and even his costumes, his outfits were amazing.
Yeah.
But the
I would.
favorite song, I would say, it was it still is Careless Whisper.
Wow.
It's really cool. So you probably can gather.
Yeah. I'm like
Yeah.
I never guess it during the episode. I always do it afterwards. I don't want so like after we're done, I guess. But like Prince is a crazy. I would have never guessed Prince. That's a crazy pull.
Really?
I get a lot of flack for my Prince take because to me, I thought Prince was better than Michael, and like people hate it, and hey, don't get it twisted, don't get it any type of way. Michael is fantastic. I was like, there's a reason Michael is global. I was like, Michael was Michael. I was like, but Michael had musicians, Michael had writers, Michael had a whole team. I was like, Prince was just Prince.
Everything. Yeah.
He was everything. Like
Everything.
he wrote his own songs. He did his own recordings. He played his own instruments. I was like, Jimi Hendrix has even said the only person that he didn't want to play guitar with was Prince because Prince might outplay him. I was like, that's how good Prince was. I'm like, y'all gotta understand, Prince was next level. I was like, that dude from Minnesota was out there doing it. I was like, don't let the Charlie Murphy, Dave Chappelle thing fool you.
Yeah.
I was like,
Great. I'm glad you feel the same. Well, not
yeah,
necessarily your favorite, but you
yeah.
appreciate Prince's
And
talent.
I love Prince's sense of humor because after Chappelle did that skit
Mhm.
with Prince, he used Chappelle as Prince as one of his album covers, and
Yeah.
I was in tears. I was like, that's great. And he like named it blouses. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
great, man. And so like, yeah, Prince was a character. That was a crazy pull. For me, my favorite artist growing up was I grew up on R&B and I grew up with my
Oh, yeah.
grandparents. So my favorite artist was actually a group. I grew up on the Temptations. I love the Temptations. They
All
were
right.
my
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
introduction to music. I love
Mm-hmm.
the Temptations. I remember singing My Girl so much,
Yes.
like Earth
Yeah. They look
Angel.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I did that. Temptations were my favorite growing up for a long time. I grew up with my grandparents. I loved R&B
Mhm.
music.
Yeah.
My grandpa got me suspended from kindergarten um, because he was a big Chuck Berry guy,
Oh,
and
yes.
so Chuck Berry, I knew my ding-a-ling word for word
Yeah.
as a 5-year-old, and so I would be singing it at school, and my teachers would just be like,
Oh, wow.
"No." And so yeah, I remember when I got suspended. My granddad was like, "Why you get suspended?" I was like, "Cause I was singing my ding-a-ling," and he's like, "I don't know where he heard that song from." My mom stared bullets through him. He's just like, I don't know where he heard that song." Oh man. Okay, so next.
Mm.
What was your favorite food or meal growing up?
It's something I don't eat anymore.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mother was a very good cook. So I loved black beef in black bean sauce that she used
Oh,
to cook
good.
for me. But I don't eat red meat anymore. That's why I
Yeah.
said to you. But it was delicious, and I would have that. And I didn't want any vegetables. I didn't like eating vegetables. I
Yeah.
just wanted beef all the time. So that was my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. Mine was one that I don't eat anymore either.
Mm.
Oh, like, so my grandmother was a great cook. She kind of raised me in the kitchen. I remember when I was little, I was always in the kitchen with her, and she was big
Yeah,
on men staying their stereotypes. So she was like, "You need to go outside." She was like, "You're gonna be in the kitchen, then you
yeah,
better learn how to do stuff in here." And I was like, "All right, well, teach me that." And so she didn't expect me to say that. She just expected me to go right back outside. I was like, "Nah,
yeah.
teach me." Like, I'm intrigued. And so like she taught me how to cook at a young age, but
Hmm.
she also knew I wasn't a picky eater. I if it had a certain texture, I didn't like it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but she had one dish. It was fried pork chops,
All right.
smothered, smothered fried pork chops,
Mm.
mashed potatoes, and fried okra.
All
And
right. Yeah,
I loved it. I loved this so much. Like I would eat it all the time. And I don't think
yeah.
I've had a fried pork chop or fried okra in like 8 or 9 years. Like it's been,
All
it's
right.
been a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. I
It's been
haven't
a
had
long
red meat
time.
for years, for
Yeah.
decades.
I found out I was allergic to red meat in like my mid 20s, and I was
Mm.
like, "Huh, that explains a lot." I was like, that explains a lot. I was like, red meat and yeast. I
Mm.
remember the doctor when he came in there. He was all like, "He's like, Cedric, you're gonna hate me," because he knew I was a big country boy. He was like, "Cedric, you're
Yeah.
gonna hate me." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Tess says you're allergic to yeast," and I was like, "Allergic to yeast?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So no more sandwiches?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, "No more pork chop sandwich, no more meatball sub, Phillies,
Yeah.
turkey, none of that." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "You can eat it in a wrap." I was like, "Man, I'll a wrap? What are you talking about?"
Amazing.
I was like, "Yeah." So that was very, very upsetting.
Mhm.
So, what was your favorite pastime to do as a child? Like, what was something that your parents had to take it away from you, or you were going to do it all day?
I actually like playing table tennis at home against the wall.
Wow.
It must have been quite irritating doing
Yeah.
that, and the noise. And my mother could be sitting down watching TV, and that wouldn't have stopped me.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I was
man.
pretty restless as a child, so I like jumping around doing things.
Yeah. Mine was I was just I was a troublemaker slash hustler. Like it
All
was
right. Yeah.
like it was like I loved anything athletic. Like I loved
Hmm.
sports. It's the reason I played for so long. So I loved anything athletic. But I was outside of basketball and football. I was a huge wrestling fan,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
like I there was many stories of me, like me and my little brother made a ring down in our game room, and
yeah.
I would have people over, and we would like I understood like storylines. Like I knew like everybody was like wrestling is fake. I was like, no, like,
Mhm.
everything you watch on TV is fake. What you talking
Yeah.
about? But like I understood the script and stuff. So I would write scripts and everything for us.
Uh-huh.
And we would have our own little shows down there. And I was the ultimate heel. I'm always cussing people out and yelling stuff. And
Yeah.
it was, yeah, we got into a lot of trouble with that because there was a lot of times where
I'm
I
sure
did some
you did.
stuff. Yeah, I did some stuff my mom was not too happy about. I was just like, it's part of the show. Like it's but it was, yeah, it was I was very much a hustler because I was charging people for tickets every
All
time.
right. Cool.
They're like, "What friends?" And I'm like, "Still $2." Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
"What's
Great.
up, buddy? Still $2. Like, let's do this." Like, but yeah. Oh man, that's great. That's great. That's good stuff. Okay, so before we leave, one last question: how can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
Yes. Go on my website, Glow
Mhm.
with Tess with one W. So it's GLOWWITHTESS. Sign up for my monthly newsletter when you go on the website. This way you can get some health tips, inspirations every month from me. And I'm on social media, all the same, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Glow with Tess. I look forward to hearing from you all.
Sounds great. And this has been a great episode with you, Miss Tess. And for everybody that's listening and didn't catch that, it's going to be in the thumbnail, in the subtitles, in everything down below when you're watching on YouTube. And when you're listening to it on audio, it's going to be also in there, a linkable quote, so that you can just hit the link and go right where you need to be. Everybody knows we are available on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcast. We will also be streaming on YouTube, so you can watch the episode and get to see all the laughter and jokes that have happened here on Conversing Over Drinks. And for everybody who always like, he never drinks, drinking Canada Dry, sugar free, because I can't do that stuff. My stomach hurts. I'm a little sick today. So this is what we're going to do. But it's been a fun episode. Thank you once again for tuning in to Conversing Over Drinks. Thank you, Ms. Tess, for being on the episode. It's been a lot of fun having you guys. And like we always say, peace. I'm out.